Hello everybody, and welcome to SportSource, your number one source of sports. And today, we're talking about if the Indiana Pacers are 2019-2020 title contenders. But before we do that, smash that like button and subscribe for more NBA news and discussions. Without further ado, let's begin the video. So the Indiana Pacers had such a weird offseason. It was very eventful, lost their roster change, so we're going to be talking about that. They gained great players like Malcolm Brogdon, TJ Warren, Jeremy Lamb, and TJ McConnell, as well as they drafted that guy with the first round pick, Gaga Bidatsky. I'm not very good with names, as you can tell from my previous videos, but they also did lose a lot of players like Bojan Bogdanovic, who went to the Jazz, Corey Joseph, who went to the Kings, Darren Collison just flat out retired, which was out of nowhere. You got Thad Young going to the Bulls, you got Tyreek Evans, who was banned from the NBA for the next 2 years, Wesley Matthews went to the Bucks, and Kyle Quinn went to the 76ers. Now, they won 48 games last year, which is pretty good. They were, I believe, the 5th seed in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I haven't really looked at the standings, but yeah. Or no, they're the 4th or 5th seed in the playoffs. One of the two, because they played the Celtics in the first round, which they actually didn't do too bad against the Celtics. Even though Victor Oladipo was out, they played really good defense against the Celtics. In my opinion, Celtics did not deserve to win that series whatsoever. They got lucky that they had to play a Pacers team without Victor Oladipo. But regardless, they had a pretty good offseason. And we're just going to be talking about some things I noticed about them. And we're just going to be talking about if they're title contenders. So they also have some returning pieces I forgot to mention, like Victor Oladipo, Domantas Sabonis, Myles Turner, and even a bench guy like Doug McDermott, who could just go out, shoot some threes. They also got some young guys, Aaron Holiday, TJ Leaf. I feel like TJ Leaf is going to have a bigger role than Aaron Holiday because Aaron Holiday is going to be playing behind Brogdon and TJ McConnell. But I really like what I've seen last year of Aaron Holiday. And I also forgot to mention, they gained Justin Holiday on the team, the brother of Aaron Holiday. You got the Holiday brothers. I think that Justin Holiday could be a good shooter. All they need is Drew. I don't think they're getting Drew Holiday because he's clearly the best out of all of them, as he was a borderline all-star last year. But I really like this core for a couple of reasons. Nate McMillan's a really good coach, and they just play such a great defensive system-based team. And I feel like these players, not a lot of them are good defenders. You got TJ Warren, who's not really a good defender. You got Jeremy Lamb, who's not a good defender. You got Malcolm Brogdon, who is okay, but I feel like these guys can just play good team defense and just be elevated by Nate McMillan's coaching. And I feel like they already got some good defensive guys there, like Oladipo, Myles Turner, guys like that. So, with all of these pieces coming together, are they enough to be good in the East? Well, the East is very, very weak. The only top teams I can see ahead of them are for sure the Bucks, the Sixers, maybe the Celtics, and maybe the Nets. So, the ceiling for the Pacers, I believe, is the 3rd seed. The floor is probably the 5th seed. But that's not bad. If you're a 3 to 5 seed, that's pretty good. But the thing is about the Pacers, most people question whether they can actually make a deep playoff run because, lots of people are like, oh, they're just a regular season team. They're not going to make any noise in the playoffs because they don't have that second star, which is true, but we'll be talking about that all later. But first, let's just talk about this roster and just this starting lineup and how they can all contribute to the team next season. You got Malcolm Brogdon. He's going to be the starting point guard most likely. He was part of the 50, 40, 90 club everyone mentions. Former Rookie of the Year. That doesn't really matter because that Rookie of the Year race was weak as heck. And you also got him averaging 16, 5, and 3 and being a key X factor on that Bucks team. If you go back to the video of most underrated players, he was on there because he was such a great player. And I think losing him for the Bucks really, really hurt them. I think the Pacers got a really good deal with Malcolm Brogdon. I really like this acquisition for them. I think he can pair well with Oladipo, and I feel like he can work off ball really good. He's a good three-point shooter. He can make plays, and I feel like he's a pretty good team defender. Moving on, we got TJ Warren, starting small forward. For the past couple seasons, he's been playing worthless basketball. Sorry, Phoenix. But then he's been playing worthless basketball on the Phoenix side. He did put up 18 points a game last year, though, as probably the second option on the team. And he shot 43% from 3, which was one of his main weaknesses, was his 3-ball. But he then improved, which I want to see him step into that small forward role. This is a bigger role than he's ever had before. Well, not bigger, but a more significant role, because on Phoenix, he's just been going out there to ball, but he actually has to play in a system now. He actually has to play good defense, where defense actually matters and where they care about defense. In Phoenix, they don't give a damn about defense. Devin Booker, he don't give a damn about defense. But, you got TJ Warren who will step in, and, he's going to try to play some good defense, or else Nate McMillan might get very angry. That being said, I feel like Bogdanovic was a better small forward last year than TJ Warren will be this year. It's sad that Bogdanovic had to go to the Jazz, but then again, the Jazz are a pretty good team, and TJ Warren can maybe step into that spot. I don't think it's too big of a downgrade, but you're going to see it a little bit. You've seen Bojan really be that first scoring option with Oladipo went out. I don't think TJ Warren could be that, but I don't really think they need to be that, because you got guys supporting like Brogdon, Lamb, TJ Warren, Sabonis, and Turner, who could all share that load if Oladipo goes out with another injury again, which is something you really don't want to see. Off the bench, you got Jeremy Lamb, who just put up 15 points a game. Obviously, again, on the Charlotte Hornets, another team that's been playing worthless basketball for the past couple of years. He got 16 points off the bench when he played. I believe he played like 20 games off the bench last year and started like 50. So you got that. I feel like he could be a good plug, maybe a sneaky six-man of the year candidate, depending on how Oladipo plays, how many games he plays, because Jeremy Lamb, I feel like he could be a good plug. He's going to be a good shooter. They're going to draw up a lot of plays for him, get him a lot of open shots. And then you got the big boy, Victor Oladipo, their star player. He was only limited to 36 games last year because of a terrible injury, which I did jinx. I'll admit it, I did jinx it in the Victor Oladipo MVP video. If you want to see that, you can check that down below. But yeah, before he got injured, he was averaging 19, 6, and 5, and the Pacers were looking really good. But the thing is that they were doing really good without Oladipo. So if this core could do what they did last year without Oladipo and repeat, because the president of basketball operations for the Indiana Pacers, Kevin Pritchard, he said that he thinks Victor Oladipo will return in December or January, which is a big blow to the team because he was already injured January 24th or something. It was late January of last season. So I believe that Oladipo can come back, and I hope that he stays healthy and that he comes back 100%. And if he does come back 100%, you could see this team having a very high ceiling. If he comes back okay, then, you know, the playoff success will show. If this team wants to go far in the playoffs, Victor Oladipo will have to determine that. And you also got guys like Domantas Sabonis, who will be the starting power forward. Now, he put up 14 and 9 a game last year and 18 and 12 when he was starting. He only did start 6 games for them last year, but he was just a great player off the bench. They had a really good thing going with their big man situation. They had Domantas Sabonis and Turner splitting those center minutes very nicely. They both didn't play a lot of minutes. They split the time. And then you got a guy like Thad Young, a vet, big man that you could plug in with any of them. And that loss is going to blow. And we're going to talk about, or it's going to be a huge blow to the team. We're going to be talking about Myles, Turner, and Sabonis later. But for now, let's talk about Myles, Turner separately. And last year he averaged 13 and 7, and he led the league in blocks. He was the defensive anchor. He led the league in blocks. He was anchoring the best defensive team in the league, and Nate McMillan has a lot to show for that. He did start expanding his range, which I wanted him to do. He was starting shooting those threes, so I think that can make the fit with Sabonis and Myles Turner work out better. Now, I just talked about this great core that won 48 games last year. They got better in my opinion. They did lose a little bit more of a deeper rotation, but they have a good 7 guys that they could run with. Now let's talk about the Indiana Pacers' biggest questions coming to the season, because there are some big questions people have for them. The first one is, can this team stay healthy? Now that's a question every team should have, because injuries can hit anywhere. But specifically for this Indiana Pacers club, you gotta look at a guy like Oladipo, who's coming off that big injury. I think something ruptured in his knee or his leg. It was a big injury. He said he had to relearn his body, and you know, that's really tough on him, but he's got a good work ethic. He's got a chip on his shoulder. I think he's gonna come out and just be really good for this team. We'll have to see that, though. Obviously, a big injury is always a concern, but I hope he could bounce back stronger than ever. You got Malcolm Brogdon, who has had some injury history, more specifically with his foot injury. He's had a history with his foot and it being injured a lot, and that hurt his draft stock when he was drafted. So that's another thing. Yeah, obviously every team can get injuries, and I hope the Indiana Pacers don't get injuries. I hope we can see this team healthy and ready to go and see what they're truly capable of. The next question I have for this Indiana Pacers squad is, can Myles Turner and Sabonis front court work? Can they coexist together? Because last year they ran this thing where Turner was starting, Sabonis was off the bench. They split those center minutes. There were some minutes that they did play together, and when they did play together, it was really up and down. You know, it worked at times, it didn't work at times, but now they're going to be playing a whole season together, and there isn't a lot of backup big man depth. That's what I really didn't like about this offseason for them. They don't have any backup bigs at all. You know, before they had Thad Young and Kylo Quinn at least for supporting pieces. Now they have a rookie first-round pick who they just drafted, which who knows how he's going to play. He was just playing overseas. And then you got TJ Leaf, who is primarily just a floor spacer, and also he's pretty young as well. He's another TJ on the team. It's the TJ Pacers. It's kind of funny. But yeah, can these two people work together? Well, I think they can at times, and they can't. It's gonna be interesting to see them, to see if they could coexist, because I think that their games work well together. You know, the problem is Turner's gonna be more of the paint protector, and I feel like Sabonis is going to have to guard those faster fours in the league. Like, is he really going to be able to keep up with the guys like Siakam and Giannis and those, you know, athletic forwards? I don't know if he can, because Turner's going to be the paint protector. He's going to be guarding the actual bigs, get down low. But Sabonis, will he be able to guard those athletic forwards? We'll have to see. That's really their only hope. That's where the defense can kind of struggle, because, you know, on the perimeter they're fine, but inside, Sabonis guarding those athletic bigs might be a little bit of a liability. But regardless, I think that these two people could coexist. They've got enough spacing to go by. They've got youth. They got good inside games. Sabonis is better at rebounding. Turner's better at inside defense. I think that this pairing could work, but obviously we'll have to see in the upcoming NBA season. The next question I have is one that I haven't seen many people asking, because they just assume that these players are going to fit in right away. But it's, can Jeremy Lamb and TJ Warren buy into the Pacers defensive system and just buy into their whole system and culture? And can they accept a smaller role? Because both of these guys were second options on terrible teams. As we all know, the Suns and Hornets are just atrocious teams. You got TJ Warren, who was probably the second option on a Phoenix Suns team for a while that was bottom of the league for all those times, and he hasn't really been part of something special, part of a winning team, and had a significant role on an actual good team. So we have to see how he adjusts to that, especially with Oladipo possibly being out until December or January. Then you got Jeremy Lamb, who's had his big moments, but, you know, he's been behind Kemba the whole time, and Jeremy Lamb's been the second best player on the Hornets for years now, and I think it's time that Jeremy Lamb, you know, gets a bigger role. I really like that six-man role for him. I think that was a really underrated signing. But we just have to find out if these guys can accept these smaller roles, because they've both been second options and shot chuckers on terrible teams. So now that they're part of a winning culture, how are they going to adjust their games to fit the Indiana Pacers culture? And the last question is probably the biggest question of them all. And is it, will the lack of a true second star hurt this team? Now, the short answer of it is yes, because the NBA is driven so much by duos now. It used to be the big, you know, the super team era, but no, this is now the duo era. You got guys like LeBron and Davis, Paul George, and Kawhi. You got all these duos. I could go on about duos. Almost every team has a duo. And if you're the Indiana Pacers and you're playing more traditionally, you're playing more defensive ball, no one plays defense anymore. No one plays defensive ball at all. So if you're the Pacers, you're focusing in on defense and, you know, not having a second star. That's probably going to hurt you in the end, because of just how the league is run now, which is good and bad. If you want to see a video on why I don't like the NBA, you could click that, or you could just comment that down below, because I'm really considering it, because I like the new game, but at the same time it's really weak and uninteresting at times when teams just don't play defense. But the Pacers aren't that team. They're one of the best defensive teams. But if you look at Oladipo, I don't think that he can be the best player on a championship winning team. And everyone knows this. Everyone knows this. I don't think anyone thinks that Oladipo could be the best player on a championship winning team. But, you know, that's really going to hurt them in the end, because in this league, you need that second star that could fit in well. Their supporting cast is awesome. I love Malcolm Brogdon on this team. I love TJ Warren on this team, Jeremy Lamb, Myles Turner, Domantas Sabonis, and Victor Oladipo. But at some point, you gotta look at this team and think that you could really go further with that second star, like a guy with a Bradley Beal caliber. But those are more harder to come by, especially if you're a smaller market in Indiana. That's why it's been impressive to see what they can accomplish, even though they lost Paul George, because they are a very small market and no team really wants to go to them if they're a big name. Victor Oladipo was traded there and he started to like it, but no one really chooses to go to Indiana if you're a big name, high profile free agent. So I think that's going to hurt them in the long run, not getting that second star. And I don't think they'll ever, this is tough to say, I don't think they'll ever reach over that hump. You've got teams, everyone in the league is trying to do this thing where it's either you go all in for the championship or you go all in for the first overall pick. That's the new philosophy. It's either tank or just go all out and try to win championships. But the Indiana Pacers are a team that I feel like they're a good team, but they're never going to make it over that hump and be a contender. But they're not bad enough to be a rebuilder. They're a good regular season team. But without that second star and just, without that second star and with the way your system is, it doesn't really translate to championships in 2019. Thank you for watching. What did you think of this video? Let me know down in the comment section below. Do you think the Indiana Pacers can be contenders next season? What do you think their seeding will be? Let me know down in the comment section below. Like the video, subscribe to join SportSource Nation. That's all from me now. I'll see you in the next one. Take care and goodbye.